I
Only
got
one
mine.
opening?
I'm not.
All right, I'll go whatever order. I can go first or third.
I want third.
All right, I'll go first.
I'll go second.
All right, we got it.
All right, we are live. Let me pull up the script. All right. Perfect. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh. My YouTube is playing in my ear here.
Yeah, I thought for a minute there, I was like,
Yep. It was playing in my ear.
I'm not hearing those sounds.
Yep. It was it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
It affects 1-3 guys.
Are we ready?
Mhm.
Yep.
Go for it.
On this episode of the Culture Smash Cast,
ScarJo wants her money, but does she deserve it?
Streaming The Suicide to the box office.
And I'll take vastly underpaid for 5,000, Alex.
okay.
You like what I did there?
I like all of those.
I did like what you did there. It's the Culture Smash Cast, episode 574 for August the 11th, 2021. I'm Stephen Lackey, editor of CultureSmash.tv. Nico?
I'm Nicholas Qualls, contributor to CultureSmash.tv, enjoying a delicious key lime Kit Kat.
Delicious. Tina?
I'm Tina Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash TV, and I'm the one who provided him the key lime Kit Kat.
But I don't have one. Nathan?
Nathan Savino, contributor to Culture Smash TV, and the gay one.
And now currently living in the state of the key lime pie.
True. and Zach?
I'm Zach Martin. I'm an overworked editor.
So what's everybody been up to? It's been a minute.
You know goddamn well what I've been.
I know what you've been up to. I'm not talking to you though.
Literally.
We watched a couple of movies. I'm running through Sailor Moon again, and working. And oh, hey, look, more work.
I am right there with Tina, working. Literally moved, been here 4 days, and worked the last 12.
I've been slowly getting through season 2 of The Expanse and season 3 of DuckTales, both of which are excellent so far.
I like The Expanse quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm at a very pivotal point, I think, that just happened. So I don't know what the hell is going to happen next. I'm fascinated.
I've got to, actually, I'm glad you reminded me because I need to watch season 4 of it.
I've been staring into the void.
And the void no.
Staring back.
We've been buried in beauty pageant video like for weeks and weeks and weeks, editing it.
You should just like say, hey, Zach, you can sleep here. You've been here long enough.
You might as well just stay.
Well.
Yeah. I love it when KJ calls him and asks him if he's going to be home for dinner, and he asks me.
I'm like, no,
that ain't happening.
It reminds me of like this one TikTok that I keep seeing of like, so here's my husband and here's my husband's boyfriend.
It feels like that, dude. Like, we've actually pretty much locked the video last night, and we both looked at each other kind of scared.
He's my boyfriend before he's your boyfriend. We go to the vet together.
That's true. That's true. He might be my video production boyfriend, but you're always the boo-boo.
I'm the boo-boo.
That's true.
Would anyone here like to guess the length? Like the total length?
Oh, the amount of the
Okay, you need to specify the film.
I was about to say.
We can make many
okay. The
things.
total length.
We're talking about the length of the final project, locked pageant project.
Like all the videos combined.
Yeah.
4 hours and
27 hours.
Nico?
Wait, so this is the final project, like edited and put together?
Yeah.
2 hours?
You want to tell?
11.6 hours.
Wow.
Almost a 12-hour video.
That's a lot.
It is the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Is this because every child needs to be represented and every parent has paid for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So what happens
it's not
is
necessarily like a video of like, here is the thing you could watch. This is like, here's the comprehensive video project of the pageant, and your child is at mark 14.
Oh yeah. There's 70 of them, and we had to put a chapter stop for each child. So there's hundreds of chapter stops in one of the videos because
that is why I will never be a pageant parent, because I just don't have the capacity to give that much of a shit.
So it's a lot. It is a lot. So we've been doing that, but I did manage to sneak away on a family trip to Gatlinburg.
Somebody had to continue editing
for a few days, huh?
Yeah, somebody had to continue editing.
So somebody, except they didn't that one night because they were.
I got a brand new toy. I took one night.
Zach be playing with his TV.
I got a brand new TV.
By toy, do you mean like Jenna's
a 65-inch 4K?
I mean, pretty much for him, yeah.
65-inch. So KJ had fun sticking that in you.
Yeah, I mean, she bent it, right?
Straight. No, please don't. Please don't bend that. It's nice. It's $1,300.
So a couple of funny things about that trip, though. If you're a listener and you aren't familiar with Gatlinburg, you probably should be, because the one thing that's interesting about Gatlinburg is it's a day's drive from half the country. So while we were there, we discovered that the cabin that we were staying in, the entrance to the underside of the house, the door was open. And there were bears sleeping in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say, that sounds like a murder waiting to happen.
So the next morning, I get up and I'm having morning coffee, and I'm looking out the deck, and a little baby bear just walks right in front of the door and looks in at me.
I love that you're telling this story, and then I just look at Nathan's shirt.
Saying.
I guess I'm the idiot because I was the only one that wasn't scared and was kind of hyped for it because we were so close to them. But that mama bear was big though. She was fucking big.
I mean,
and she had 3 babies.
The pictures you sent me, I was like, "Go pet it," and you were like, "Fuck you."
Exactly. Oh, and on another note, one night while I was there, I did edibles with my family.
Nice.
We had, no, not really. Not really.
Were the bears gone at this point?
Stop incriminating yourself on a Tennessee state.
Hey, it's too late now, baby. It's too late now. They're gone.
We're not going to get that legalized anytime soon, honey.
Nah, it's going to be a minute. But it's been a while for me, and I wasn't a fan. I'm like, I'll just have some cocktails. I'm good.
I'll make your cocktails.
And you guys come pick me up at the hospital the next day.
It'll be fine. I'll bring an IV drip too.
So it's been a little crazy for all of us here with it, between editing, still bagel shop struggles,
work.
Yeah, and then just work. It's been crazy. Dude, so that's why we've had so few shows in the last month.
It has been so tight on this that for us to see a movie we're going to talk about this week, we had to rush and hit the last one of the night, the latest one. And we got out by like midnight.
Yeah, we edited up until an hour before the movie. Ada fed us, and we rushed out the door so we could see Suicide Squad, so we can talk about it tonight. And I have some theater notes about that also. So let's get into the show, shall we? So we can get to that discussion because I'm excited. Special thanks to Skinny Mixes for supporting CultureSmash cast. Skinny Mixes are coffee and dessert syrups that are 0 sugar, 0 calorie, and 0 to 2 carbs. Head on over to skinnymixes.com and try some of their syrups, such as white chocolate, salted dark chocolate, salted caramel, and the variety of cocktail mixes they offer, including margarita and fruit flavors. Use promo code CultureSmash for 15% discount.
They are amazing.
Get you some.
Yeah, I promised myself not to buy anymore until I run through my mocha that I have from.
Tina, if you do the mocha, do the mocha and the peanut butter together.
Yes, you got to order the peanut butter. It's like a Reese's cup coffee.
I have my cart stocked so that when I do, because they just released their pumpkin line.
I saw that. Line. Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, oh, give me all my pumpkin stuff because I'm a basic bitch. So.
Goldman, when you place the order, get pumpkin.
Well, if you spend $50, you'll get free shipping too. So that's another money saving thing.
Spend $50.
Spend $50. All right. So let's get to the box office. Number 10 on the box office was Fast 9, The Fast Saga. It made 1.2 million. It's made 174 so far. Number 9 is Escape Room, Tournament of Champions, Nathan's favorite. That one made 1.3 million. It's made 23 million so far. Number 8 is Snake Eyes. That one made 1.6 million. It's made 26 million so far also. Those two are right there at each other. Okay. Number 7 is Space Jam, a new legacy. That one made 2.4 million. It has made 65.6 million so far. Number 6 is The Green Knight. That one made 2.5 million. It's made 12.1 million so far.
We're going to talk about this now or later.
Let's just get through the box office and we'll talk about both the movies at the end. Number 5 is Stillwater. That one made 2.8 million. It's made 9.9 million, almost 10 million so far. And number 4 is Black Widow. That one made 3.9 million. It's made 174.2 million. Number 3 is Old. It made 4.1 million. It's made 38.4 million so far. Globally, it seems like it was in the 70-something million. All I know is M. Night Shyamalan had a celebration post because it's profitable. I guess that's a big deal for him. Number 2 is Jungle Cruise. That one made 15.8 million. It's made 65 million so far. I went and saw that one too, by the way. Number 1 this week, The Suicide Squad. It had a $26.2 million opening. This weekend, there's some cool stuff to see. Well, there's one thing. I'm scared about it now, though, is Don't Breathe 2. It has no advanced screening reviews right now.
It's a Sony film.
What, they don't do it at all?
Well, it's Sony.
What, they don't do advanced reviews at all?
You should know what you're getting into. It's a Sony film.
I mean, the
Don't
trailer
Breathe 1 was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a rarity.
It was what?
The trailer looks amazing.
The trailer does look good. I hope it's good. Anyway, Free Guy is opening this weekend. That's that Ryan Reynolds thing where he plays a NPC in a video game. It's 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. And Respect, that's the Aretha Franklin biopic, is 69% on Rotten Tomatoes right now. I thought that movie looked kind of good. Maybe not. Maybe not. That's a shame. I'm planning to see it.
I mean, it's got good casting.
It does have
Honestly,
good casting.
I plan to see all 3 of these movies. It just might not be quick.
I'm going to see all 3 of them as well because, Rico Unlimited.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got a few movies to talk about. Let's see. Let's just get through The Green Knight really quick.
We're talking about the best
and I had to keep each other from falling asleep.
Well, we could talk about 3 of them because we could talk about Green Knight, Jungle Cruise, and Suicide Squad.
Okay, yeah, great.
So let's talk about the worst one.
Green Knight.
The best one.
Green Knight.
This was so funny because we have been so hyped for this movie for so long because we love A24. But
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah, pre-pandemic. 2019 was the first kind of buzz about it. This has not been A24's best year. Let me just tell you.
What's it even about? Because I don't.
It's Gawain and the Green Knight.
Yeah, it's an Arthurian
it's based
legend.
on the folktale of Gawain and the Green Knight, which is an old Arthurian legend story.
Yeah, Gawain's
basically
one of the Knights of the Round Table.
Oh, okay.
It's basically a poem, really. I mean,
It's an Arthurian legend, like from days of yore.
Yeah.
Basically, it's Gawain's like, oh, I'll take on this challenger who appeared, because basically whatever you do to the Green Knight will let you strike him once, and whatever blow you deliver, he will return 1 full year afterwards.
Oh, but there was a point. Yeah. So what happens is it's King Arthur's nephew, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what happens is he comes to the castle and he tells King Arthur, which, by the way, point 1, if you don't know this story, you won't fucking know that it's King Arthur because I never fucking say it.
Yes, the film expects you
to know this story. And if you don't, you are fucked.
I didn't know the story and I was able to follow it.
Hold on, Zach. When you like a film, it is they expect you to use your brain. But when you don't like a film, it's you're doing the writer's work for them.
No.
Oh, that's
So wait. So
That's
wait. So here's the story. So basically, this Green Knight shows up at King Arthur's castle and says, "Look, do this challenge with me, and you can rule the land or whatever." And the nephew
my
steps.
axe.
Yeah, and the nephew steps up. I'll do it for you or whatever. And the nephew and he's like, "But I'm gonna come. Whatever you strike, however you strike me, I'm gonna come back. You got to come to me in a year, and I'm gonna return the favor, basically." So the nephew thinks, spoilers for this movie, by the way. The nephew thinks, "Hey, I'm gonna handle this by chopping off his head, so like he will die." But then the Green Knight picks his fucking head up and laughs about it.
See you in a year, sucker.
See you in a year, bitch. Right?
1 year hence.
Yeah. And this is the story, really, of the journey that he has to take and what happens at the end of that.
And the poem basically is supposed to end with Gawain like, okay, fuck it. I'll just, you know what? I've lost. I've been screwed over. Let's do it. And they're like, oh, it was just a trial. But thank you for proving that you have what it takes. It's like, fucking A.
Yeah, so there are definitely departures from the Arthurian legend of Gawain and the Green Knight. It is not It is not an accurate retelling of the which I don't really care.
Well,
yeah, I don't care. I don't care either.
Right,
it does. It has some of it in there.
It does have some of it. It feels like, I will say, it has the feel of the kind of surrealness of an Arthurian legend of like things just happen because it's a world of magic and mystery. So it definitely has that aesthetic to it. But I mean, if you're going for the actual Legend of the Green Knight, it does not end exactly how
it's also like nothing matters because magic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, nothing matters because magic.
Well, the weird thing I had with this movie is that it's a very surreal, dreamlike feel. Like a lot of things just happen in this movie that don't really lead into anything else. There's not really some narrative flow in some aspects of it. Like we're going to be spoiling the movies that we're going to be talking about. So fair warning. But like for instance, when Gawain is robbed of his belt and his axe, and he coincidentally finds all of them again, no relation to the thief who took them.
Right.
Yeah.
Gets them all again, and which was just very weird and random.
And it makes that whole thing unnecessary.
Almost like it's dream.
That's because I am a robot.
Yeah, because it doesn't fucking matter. It was a dream, so I had to watch 15 minutes of a... You know who did this? Oh, I'm about to piss Zach off. You know who did this dream sequence thing better? That Hansel and Gretel horror movie. Remember there was... It did it better.
I heard that was good, though.
It is good. It is. And you know what? You only had to sit through 5 minutes of a dream sequence where this movie is an hour and a half.
Gretel is good.
Yeah, this movie's 2 hours.
Yeah, it feels like 20 hours. It's so funny because Zach and I got up from it and
I was like, hell yeah.
He's like, that was metal. And I'm like, dude, I fucking hated it. I was like, that was my fucking jam. You know what I said to him? And I hold to this right now. This is the Lighthouse of King Arthur movies. Because fuck you, yes. This movie is so much up his ass about how elitist it is. Oh, you know what? Just because I'm cool, I'm going to flip the camera upside down. It don't matter. I'm just going to do it. Just because.
That shot was pretentious as all hell.
Half of the movie.
So it's basically how
it's
how Zach shoots video, basically.
It's how Zach would like to shoot. That level of pretension.
There were parts where it was visually very stunning and very
for sure. I agree.
Pretty.
Yeah.
But there was one scene, the monologues killed it. The monologues killed it for me because I was sitting there and falling asleep during half of the monologues. Like when he's in the castle where like the woman was jacking him off, Nico and I swear I snored a little bit. Like I was afraid I was being disrespectful to like the people in the theater with me. By the way, there was only like 2 other couples in the theater with us. And I thought like I snored because I was falling asleep and Nico was like, oh, I was too.
And it's also as gorgeous it is in some spots, it's definitely dark in a lot of other spots where it's kind of difficult to see what's going on.
It suffers from the Game of Thrones fantasy lighting.
And I don't know if this is necessarily our theater, but some of the sound was also very hard to hear in some of the dialogue, some of the spoken words.
I could have benefited from subtitles.
I don't remember. That may have been your theater. I don't remember having any big issues with dialogue.
I mean, there was the adjustment to it, but once I adjusted, there was no issues.
For me, it was just the first 10 minutes or so of adjusting to accents because they were real thick.
Yeah,
but you had to kind of like settle into it.
Like we still don't know what the lady's head says when he goes to like that abandoned cabin. We don't know what she says. Something like, I don't know. We don't know because it was so low. We couldn't hear it.
So the other thing for me, and the big thing, and
that's your theater. That's what you get for going to Hollywood 27.
I think that might have been your theater.
We went to Green Hills,
which should have been good.
What auditorium in Green Hills? I'm just curious.
13.
Should have been good.
Yeah,
should have been good.
Yeah, Green Hills has been lacking lately.
Only in theater 10. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll get to theater 10.
We'll get to that in a minute.
In theater 13 too.
Well, I guess, but I've seen a lot of stuff in there lately. Like a lot, and that only theater 10 has been my issue, and not sound wise, but the thing for me is literally I could have looked at Zach during that movie at different points and go, oh, side quest, here we go. Yep. Oh shit, it's another side quest, and you know what? None of them fucking matter.
It's almost like it's the journey, not the destination.
And I'm usually fine with that. Lots of times a movie, if I could predict the ending, okay, that's fine. And we'll get to that later. That's fine. If the journey is good, but I felt like it was just dragging. I just didn't like it. And it was just like felt so elitist to me too. I had the same feeling coming out of Lighthouse. I'm like, oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Zach. You're the only one who liked it. Go ahead.
It was my jam. It was awesome. It was great. It was perfectly paced.
No.
And when I say perfectly, I mean trim a couple minutes out. But, no, I really liked it. It was completely what I wanted, which is to say a slow, methodical, think piece art house film. I'm sorry you didn't get that note.
Okay, if it's think piece, that would be fine. I would like it better, but there's just no story to it.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. You know this what it leads to.
Okay. So do we do a 15-minute fucking movie?
There's nothing to it story-wise. It's all beautiful traveling and people being pretty and jacking each other off and, you know.
Okay. Steve,
that was
fix
so
the
awkward.
movie.
It really was.
Fix the movie.
Write a story.
No, we have our story. It's Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
That's a poem. It's not enough for a film.
We are making a film of this story.
Then you better get a good writer who can write a story around that, because it's not.
They got it.
I mean, this is not new. How many times have we seen short stories that were turned into film, and you look at it and you're like, oh, well, this is just a drug out short story. It doesn't always work, and this one feels like that. It feels like what should have been a short. It's like 2 hours long.
They made a feature length film from Baba Black Sheep.
I'm not mad. I'm just like, I'm fucking disagreeing.
Well, you could disagree.
I mean,
fine. Yeah.
How much story is there?
Zach, if they don't even explain it's King Arthur and people don't know it's King Arthur.
He's wearing the fucking crown. Do you think the king wears a fucking crown?
Wait a minute. How many kings wear crowns though, Zach?
Was he the only king?
Fucking Arthur.
Was he the only one? Is he the only?
Yes.
If I were to walk off,
rewatch the fucking movie. He's the only one wearing shit. If you cannot piece together, hey, this guy's wearing a thing that makes him look angelic and got a crown. Maybe he's the fucking king.
But Zach,
when Arthur,
hang on, go ahead.
But Zach, if I don't even know the poem, I don't even know the story. So if I don't either. If I walked off the street and I went into this movie, I wouldn't know it has anything to do with King Arthur. So how am I supposed to know that's King Arthur?
And it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy film.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, dude. You want a narration with titles at the beginning saying, "This is the word of King Arthur."
So you didn't know the story, you didn't know the poem, you didn't know any of it, and you walked.
I knew it was about Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Well, then you knew enough.
That tells me it's a King Arthur fucking tale.
Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
Because you could go in and not know that, though.
No,
you could
go
in and not geeks like us.
Exactly.
Hey, let me ask you this. When Arthur,
hang on, let her respond to what she says.
I'm trying to fucking ask a question fucking twice.
all they had to do to fix that one issue of not knowing is just Guinevere to look over and be like, Arthur, or just say his name. That would have
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
How about this?
So
were you able to
actually
piece together that when Arthur looked at the magician-looking fucking guy with tattoos on his face, that was?
See,
I would never assume
that was Merlin until
Yeah,
later
Merlin.
on.
Did you assume that was Merlin? Because I was like, it's fucking Merlin.
So I
No.
How did you know?
I actually don't think this. I actually don't think this is an issue.
I was able to assume because he looks into himself.
Guys,
the
am I
lighting turns red.
Yeah, you're coming
this
there.
guy's
Go
back.
ahead.
All right. So okay, I don't think that's actually a problem. Like I knew going into it was Arthur. I knew like when he glanced over the magician, it's Merlin. Like I got that. I don't think that's really needed because they're not main characters. So I don't think that really matters. They're really only there in the beginning and then a little bit of the end to kick. But it's really all Gawain's story. I think a lot of it is just the fact that it's a very slow burn of a movie where not a lot of it happens, and the stuff that does happen is so surreal and paced that it's just you kind of lose track of what's going on. Again, the thing I like to point out to is like very early in his journey, Gawain gets robbed. He has 3 things, like 3 items on him at that time. He's a horse that gets taken, his sword that gets his axe that gets taken, and then the sash that his mom enchanted for him gets taken. He gets all the horse later. That's a different thing. But the axe and the sash, he gets all those back completely unconnected to the bandit who took them. Like they were completely different instances, separated from themselves too. And like this, the logic, the internal logic of how this movie is operating and how he meets random people and like the just assuming as fact a lot of the conversations that he goes into and just how he gets random stuff, it feels like a dream. And because of that, I started falling asleep and almost started having my own dreams.
Well, and then there's a sequence where he dreams of himself, I guess, as a skeleton tied up or whatever, and it doesn't really mean anything.
That
was
weird.
so
Nathan
long
has
of a
his
scene.
hand up.
It doesn't mean
I have
anything.
my hand up.
I mean, I'm going to say this, okay, because I haven't seen this movie. I had no desire to see this movie because I had no idea what it was about. All I know is the reviews it's getting. But coming from, like, all I know is, like, the King Arthur story from retellings of when I was a kid. I don't know any outside other, like, folklore or any other story that's associated with that. If I were to walk into the theater and watch this movie, I would have no freaking clue what's going on, where it's
exactly
from,
you wouldn't
anything of that nature. I couldn't sit there and say, oh, that's King Arthur. I couldn't sit there and say, oh, that's Merlin, because freaking tattoos on the face. I've never known a version of Merlin to have tattoos on his face.
He looked like he did something mystical.
He was what?
He looked like he did something mystical, and I was able to piece together using my brain.
Well,
that's
but if you're not into
who's a wizard in Arthur's court?
If you're not into any of this stuff, though,
but if I didn't know it was part of Arthur's court, how would I figure out that's Merlin?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Nico and I agree with Nathan.
I mean, I
see you can easily come in and not know who the fuck anybody is. That's easy. But I also think you're right. If the story was filled out more, we probably wouldn't be focusing on this that much. I like slow burn. I do. But I like to have some thought-provoking shit happening that makes me think about things in those slow burn situations. I will say, like seeing we were just talking about The Shining. That is a slow burn movie. But you know what? You're watching this motherfucker slowly unravel. And there's like so much meat on that bone.
Payoff. There has to be a payoff worth that slow burn. Also, I have my hand up. So, can anybody explain to me Gawain's mother's purpose for summoning the Green Knight in the first place? Like, they never go into that.
Yeah,
they don't.
Wait, what was the question?
Gawain's mother is responsible for summoning the Green Knight. So, and they never dive into that, or like even her reaction of, oh fuck, my son challenged the Green Knight. Fuck.
So she's kind of like evil.
Huh?
She's kind of evil.
I got the feeling.
Yeah, but we don't get that though.
Well, okay, Zach. So why did she do it? I know. I think I know. I got it worked out. They just don't ever contextually tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I'm
think
able to piece it together myself. However,
You don't really know why she did it till the very end of the movie, I don't think.
But see, that brings back my point earlier of, is it thought-provoking or is it doing the writer's job for them? Because that seems to be your go-to argument when it's like, this is...
In this case, yeah, it would be doing the writer's work for him.
It would be what?
It would be doing the writer's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, in this case, yes.
Can I hear that louder?
Okay, when you're trying to provide motivation when there is none, you are doing the writer's work for them.
Yeah.
However, when they didn't say this person's name, so why are you doing the writer's work for them? That is not doing the writer's work.
So you have to admit, if you look at this realistically, and you can love it, and here's what's weird.
Like, I just admit that's a fault. So.
But here's what's weird, is we're in the minority, because the last I looked, this thing was above 90% Rotten Tomatoes.
Everybody who we've seen...
50% audience.
I'm talking about critical.
88.
The world is agreeing with Zach.
Okay, so it's coming down. It's coming down. It's 88%. But if you look at this, like, completely honestly, it's like cotton candy. There's no meat on the bone. This is all just visual beauty.
I haven't had cotton candy for a year and a half.
But is it? Am I right? Is it mostly just
beautiful? No, I still believe there is meat.
I will say this. Mm-hmm. This is the best looking Skyrim film ever. Because
I love shit. So like,
I mean, if you like watching all the outdoor effects is like, I remember seeing all of this when I played Skyrim. It looks spot on, which is the aesthetic that they were going for.
Wait,
but it's like,
is it Skyrim or Pacific Rim Job?
Oh no, it's not that bad.
It's not totally giant robots in like a
futuristic
setting.
I love Pacific Rim Job. I watched it again the other day.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
No, my favorite parts of the film were the fox and the cabin with the beheaded ghost. Those were the two parts that I stayed awake for.
I did quite like the fox also. I will say that.
The fox was
I like that the fox was like, "You're dumb if you go this way. You're still going this way. Peace out, bitch."
All right, so we got some more stuff. Let's go to Jungle Cruise next.
Let's go to who else has seen Jungle Cruise?
I'm shocked Nathan has.
So Ada and I had a date night. We went to the theater to see it. Yeah. So Jungle Cruise is real simple, like in story. Basically, it's kind of like Indiana Jones crossed with The Mummy.
It's The Mummy. The movie is
it like
it literally is kind of the Mummy.
So, yes.
Except what's her name? I'm drawing a blank on her name.
I heard they were trying to go for like
Emily
African
Blunt?
Queen.
Emily Blunt is playing Brendan Fraser's position. Kind of. You heard they were going for
Emily,
what? Like
Emily
the African
Blunt
Queen?
Is playing Rachel Weisz's character.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I like that movie.
Okay, it's only going after the African Queen so much as the ride, the Jungle Cruise, is based
going
off
after
of the African Queen.
Okay.
That's it.
I mean, it's literally riffing on the ride so much.
Emily Blunt is more of Rachel Weisz's character from The Mummy.
Okay.
The smart, adventurous, wants to get down to finding out the mystery of the academically, whereas The Rock is Brendan Fraser's character, wrapped with a little bit of The Mummy.
Fair enough.
And then, of course, they both have adorable, dorky brothers.
I have not seen this yet, but I think I'll love it, honestly, compared to, I love a lot of garbage.
Yeah.
But when we were going through the box office, I was very underwhelmed with its second week to be where it's at.
Well,
and
I mean, it's got the same issue as like Black Widow. It's on Disney Plus. You could get it there.
Which I have not seen Black Widow yet, and I have not paid to see Black Widow, and I have not paid to see Jungle Cruise, because what I'm going to try to do is go to the local theater here and actually see those.
I think it would be worth seeing both of them in the theater. I think they both have cinematic moments that make them
you could
valuable.
Just go on the Jungle Cruise.
You could just do that.
You could go to Disney Springs and go to the AMC there.
I've been on the Jungle Cruise.
You can go on the Jungle Cruise and then go see the Jungle Cruise.
Well, on the movie though. Here's the one thing that I can say is I went in anticipating like hating it, that I was just going to hate it. I went because Ada wanted to see it, And coming out of it, I had a really good time.
It was a lot of fun. That was a fun movie.
That is a movie right there where I knew exactly what was going to happen in every beat. But the journey to those beats was really entertaining. Emily Blunt was magnetic. She was just funny and fun. And, it's funny to see her in that way after spending 2 movies watching her almost get killed and crying a lot.
Well, even just to see her from Devil Wears Prada, like it's just a different type of acting experience. It's just different. But I will say the only negatives I've heard, and it's not just from this group or like close circle, like Flight Attendant Friends, was the CGI. Too much CGI.
There's way too much CGI.
There is a lot of CGI.
It's
and
too
some of
much.
It does not flow well at all.
Agree. It's bad.
I love some of the spins that they take, like with the skipper, his whole storyline. I loved what they did with Trader Sam. I loved the brother was a lot of fun. The brother character. And any movie where Nazis are getting their butts handed to them is always going to be A-okay in my book.
Technically, it's proto-Nazis. It's World War One.
Sure.
So the other thing is I wouldn't even know this had I not been watching theme park videos, because I haven't been on the Jungle Cruise. I don't know if I've ever ridden it. Honestly, I've only been to Disney one time, and I was a little tiny kid.
Oh, so Jungle Cruise was one of my favorites.
Okay,
but because I've been watching a lot of theme park videos, I know that they built in the dad joke stuff that's on that ride. They built that into the Rock's character. And some of the jokes he makes are literally those made on the ride.
Yeah.
Like they had to put the backside of water joke in there because that is a staple.
Yeah,
that is
Nathan, I think you will very much
appreciate
those, and you will love those.
I already know I'm going to love the movie. But Stephen Lackey, when you come to Florida, I am taking you to Jungle Cruise, the ride, because it is one of my favorites. The improv they do, as well as like the typical jokes they do, is some of the funniest.
It looks like fun.
I want to go again
There's
just
a new
because one of
Disney-
our friends is a skipper for the Jungle Cruise now, and I want to
nice.
see her. I want to see her doing the dad jokes.
There's a new Disney Plus show called Behind the Attraction where
I've been watching it.
Yeah, the first one they do is the Jungle Cruise. It's obviously a tie-in to this.
Second one they do is the Haunted Mansion.
Wait, are they doing it out of Disneyland or Disney World?
Disney World and Disneyland, yeah.
Well, yeah. They talk about
both.
opening it at first at like one park and then the other and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're like 45-minute shows. So
because I'll tell you this, the Disney World cast members that do it like it's different than how they do it in Disneyland.
I've only watched the Haunted Mansion episode, so
I've been skipping around.
They're sure
Haunted Mansion represent.
Mansion-esque.
Yeah,
it kind of
does.
the wallpaper, honey.
Oh, okay. Well, it's kind of a tiny screen in my view. So.
Zach, you're a wallpaper.
So for me, this was 6.5 out of 10. I mean,
I scored it with my enjoyment, scoring like a 7. Yeah.
The story is kind of weak in places, but the characters are so much fun that
the characters
I had a
and
great
the
time
actors
with
have
it.
a good time. I think their chemistry is really good together.
That's a better rating than old. So
it is a better rating than old. Yes. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Rock and Emily Blunt together. They were a ton of fun to watch. So
they had enough chemistry to actually like pull it off, but not enough to be like, oh, this is creepy.
At the same token, the numbers, I feel like the numbers, if this was a non-COVID time, I feel like the numbers would be way higher.
I think
Absolutely.
If it was non-COVID time and it wasn't on Disney Plus, that would be the thing.
Yeah.
But
I think it's proving out, and we'll have this in an article later, what the impact that Disney Plus is kind of starting to have on their movies. Yeah. So we have one more movie to talk about, and
something else that streaming might also be hurting a lot.
Oh, it is definitely,
and that would be the Suicide Squad.
Yep.
And we all managed to see it before.
Now,
and spoilers.
Oh,
spoilers.
Oh, so spoilery.
Who saw in the theater and who streamed it?
We streamed it.
We streamed it because I did not have the mental capacity to go to a theater.
Well, I didn't have the time to go to a theater. But
Zach and I went to the theater.
So,
and annoyingly so, we were in Theater 10, which, as in previous episodes I have mentioned, Theater 10 at the Green Hills has a fucking dead pixel. It has two.
It has pixels. 2 fucking dead pixels.
Very annoying.
Which you've written in about like 4 weeks ago.
I did. But they've got it's a big
green.
It's a big apparently deal to
They
get it fixed.
solved
So
it
it's going to be
by adding in another dead pixel, so it's not lonely.
it balanced it out. Yeah.
Well, it had 2 pixels dead the first time we saw it too. So
Yeah.
So, Nathan, you wanted to start, so go on ahead and start us off.
Do it.
I freaking loved this so much more than the first movie. Like so much more. Like all I got stuck in my head is nom 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 nom.
This nom nom?
This nom nom? No, not nom nom. I mean, literally.
You know that's Sylvester Stallone.
Is it?
Yeah.
No?
Yes, it is.
That's Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
Well, and when he's like the whole part where he's like, "Yay, more dumb friends," and he's running. And
that's him, motion captured and voiced.
Then they attacked him, and I was like, "Wow, that's real life." But can I just say the casting on this was the chemistry, the casting was way better than the first one completely. They hit comedic notes that the first one missed out on completely. Like the first one won Academy Award for costuming and stuff. This one really tied in so much comedic timing, so much story. It really added such a level of like foolishness that was just I was like beaming watching.
I love physically seeing Zach get angrier and
well,
no.
Zach likes the Green Knight, so we're not going to listen to him right now.
No. What is one thing that the 2016 one did better than this one? Does anyone have anything?
Win an Academy Award?
No.
Right now?
No. That's outside of the film.
What do you mean outside of the film?
Well, it won an award. That's not the film.
Oh, no, there's nothing. This one did pretty much everything better than the first one.
Yeah.
And it's because we had a better
I was just curious if anybody had anything.
No, nothing.
I thought
you were leading into like it was actually this and you all missed it. It's like Zach's like,
that's what I thought too.
I will say this. There was a level like what I can say about the 2016 one is you saw a more dynamic Harley Quinn than you did in this one.
I think here's the thing about Harley Quinn. I don't necessarily agree with that, but what I do feel like maybe makes it feel that way is because she kills this character, but this is the first time she's done it in a good movie.
She's finally given the material. Like Margot Robbie is the right choice acting wise,
and her portrayal is great.
Yeah,
looking, acting, it's her. She has not been given good material up until now.
Okay.
Like Suicide Squad, her material was bad. Harley Quinn, it was bad.
I will give you that credit, but I will say I kind of like seeing a more dynamic. I don't know. Harley Quinn in this was amazing by far too. But I like.
So when you say dynamic,
I like seeing like. She kind of had love interest in this, but you saw the dynamic between her and Joker, or like her feeling towards Joker in the first one. Whereas this one, she had little like love flings. She was so much better in this than she was in Birds of Prey.
Oh God, yeah.
See, I can't justify Harley being dynamic because of Joker, because that relationship to me is so.
Well, I'm not saying because of Joker. I'm just saying you saw more sides of the Harley Quinn character.
She was still dealing with that emotionally, and that had impact. I see what you're saying there.
Well, see,
but I think
growth of her character.
It is. It's because you have to look at it in the overall spectrum. Even though the movie was shit, she kind of dealt with her Joker demons in Birds of Prey. I mean, that kind of ended that for her. So we really shouldn't see that in this movie at all. And we don't. And it's fine. She's I think the interactions between her and the character, like I have this love-hate relationship with the Polka Dot Man guy because his character might be the most complicated in the movie and the most layered. But I fucking hate his ability.
Guys.
I hate his existence.
I
hate that he throws dots. I'm sorry. It's stupid.
Loved that
I hate it.
Through his eyes, we got to see his mom.
So
that was hilarious.
This is what I need to bring up.
So you're fine with a giant godlike killer shark able to walk on two legs But polka dot man, it's just too far.
So
I mean, what are those polka dots?
so first off,
you see them
Let Nathan go.
polka dot man is like a very embodiment of like a very flamboyant, like awesome gay man like myself. Second off, so when they're in the bar and they're drinking and blah blah blah, and like he sees all his like moms, like he's seeing his mom, right?
Yeah.
There's this one mom in the front with the beard, and I swear I had to do a double take and be like, Mike. I literally was watching that. I stopped the freaking streaming. I rewound and I was like, Mike. Like,
That's funny.
it looks just like Mike. And then from then on out, I could not see the mom version of what he saw without seeing Mike. Even like Starfish at the end when it's giant mom. And I saw him like, and I was like, it's Mike.
I will say, so I apparently forgot. I hadn't watched the trailers in a long time, and I apparently forgot in the trailers that you see a little bit of Starro. So when they say Project Starfish, I turn to Nico and I'm like, really? Which I think was my reaction in the trailer when I saw that.
What I want to say though is I
I'm proud of
remember
myself.
when we saw the trailers for this the first time.
Here it comes.
I remember one of us going like, I hate this characterization. I hate this dialogue. This is some bullshit.
Yeah, it was bad dialogue.
And then now you have to admit, in that sequence,
It's still bad dialogue. It's still bad dialogue.
There was character development in that sequence.
Yeah, and it paid off,
It
which
sure
made me
did.
even more pissed.
Well,
Yeah.
And I also
It's like it actually had a function.
I'm obsessed with WWE wrestling. I've always liked John Cena. Do I think he's the Rock, Dwayne Johnson level actor?
No.
Heck no. But did he execute this role? Great. I think he did. I think he executed his character at a level that I was like, okay, I'm actually entertained by you. I'm not annoyed by you.
I will say,
I still
think he
found
did
him to
fine
be a
in the
block of
role.
wood.
Yeah, he's wooden as shit.
Yeah, I felt him
think
to
he
be a
did
block
fine
of wood.
for the character. I think he did fine.
He did.
He
great.
was
I will
supposed to
say-
play a bro version of Captain America, and I think he was really going for it.
I will say the character that I tended to like the most was actually Ratcatcher.
Yep.
I liked her.
I really did like Ratcatcher.
I like Ratcatcher.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Sebastian, the little CGI rat.
So this is the one thing I said to Zach because we were talking about this, and it's funny how we change in our sensibilities because the sequence when she brings all those rats out at the end,
It's like
and they're
yes.
flowing like a river down the scene. And Zach was like, "Oh, this is cool, it's cool." And I'm like, "Yeah,
I did not
remember
fucking say
you."
that.
Well, you didn't say it was bad though. But when we saw World War Z, it's all you fucking talked about. Was those zombies just look like flowing water? I'm like, it looks the same. It looks the fucking same. Those rats look fake as fuck until you got close.
But
and you could see little hairs and stuff like that. And that
Here's
was
the
better.
thing. It might have looked a little fake, but it looked better than the World War Z zombies. I will say that.
I think
Because-
it looked just as
I-
bad to me.
No,
which is more believable,
because
a river
the
of rats or a
rats-
river of humans?
a river
They're
of
both not.
rats.
They're both
No.
not
Which
believable.
a river
one
of
is
rats.
at least a little bit more than the other.
A river of rats is way more believable because you see that when New York City floods.
No, my point is that we've just become apologetic for bad CGI.
No,
It's not getting better,
We
so
just-
we're just like whatever.
It's not getting better, so we're just settled into it. Because I don't think it's that much better. It still has the same bad aesthetic to me.
I will say the CGI that I actually liked in the film was when the eye, like when spoilers again, when Harley Quinn just like javelin jumps into the fucking eye, and it just like Nico and I both just went, oh.
guys, I'll be right back.
Okay, so that's another negative for me though. Overall,
Yeah,
is
she should be dead.
I really love that James Gunn went for it gore wise. He just fucking said, I'm going to go for it. But most of it was CG, and it just sort of disconnected me a little bit because it looked kind of bad.
Because I was looking this up, and apparently a lot of the gore and blood was practical, but it really comes
Didn't
off.
look like it
It
then.
really comes off CG.
And maybe that's the grading or something. But the part where the brain guy gets slammed into a wall and he basically turns into mud. I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe
Okay.
that's what Gallifreyans do when they
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. But I am on the positive train though with you guys. Generally, I really liked it. We had
a lot of fun with this, and Nico and I both were in the agreement of, damn, we want to go to a theater and see this now.
It was fun to see. We had a good time with it.
Wait for Nathan's 4-week window, so he doesn't get anything for it.
Yeah, we don't want him to get any more money. Yeah. I agree with that.
But I will say this though, because like I said, we originally wanted to do a theater, but we opted for home. And it really does showcase that while there's definitely a different experience, if it's a good movie, it will be good at home regardless. Whereas, like, for instance, I had the exact same experience watching Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman 1984, because the same like dog interrupting, had to take dog out a couple times. Like, it was not like a straight start and finish viewing the movie as I would really like. So very same experience with like Wonder Woman or like Godzilla vs. Kong, like a lot of other movies I've seen at home that I hated. And it's like, it's not because I did not get a cohesive viewing experience that I hated these movies. They're just bad movies.
But I do think that probably, I mean, you probably didn't even realize it. It's just so ingrained, is this movie got interrupted at home too. And really, to me, that you, like, even me in this theater space, watching stuff here, I'm still likely to pick up my phone and look at something if something pops up. You don't do that in the theater, and it's a different experience. And I think it matters.
Like, there's that scene where Harley Quinn starts to sex up the guy.
Yeah.
That's a scene I probably would have looked at my phone if I was at home.
And you would have missed.
And I would have missed the payoff.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, this is so dull. And the theater, I'm like, God, this is dull. And then when it pays off, I'm like, forget what I said. It was fucking great.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I streamed it and I was not distracted. I did not pick up my phone once. I did not. Like, I was very in tune. I didn't even have my computer
So out. Goldman didn't walk by and say something to you. You didn't have to pause it and go pee.
And also my distraction.
I mean, those are things that just sort of happen in a house.
My distraction
but here's the thing. I get up to go pee in a movie all the time.
And it's a different experience.
Did you pause the movie or did you leave it running?
Because when I get
all right,
when I go to the theater,
I want to tangent here. The PlayStation 4 app for HBO Max is fucking terrible.
It's terrible on the iPad too.
Yeah,
it lags because we kept trying to pause it and it wouldn't pause until like
he would press it and then he would press the button again because it wasn't working.
It's not pausing. So and it's like, is it reading?
And then like 2 seconds later, it would start the movie because he pressed it twice.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's like, is like the controller not activated right now because it's been off, because it's been the viewing for a bit, and it's like, and then like 5 seconds after I paused it, it will pause finally, and it was just so frustrating.
Dude, that's not just a play. That's not just PlayStation.
Yeah,
this is why I shelled out and got an Apple TV.
What did you say, Tina?
I said there was actually one point where it was lagging so much that it actually accidentally backed out because I had hit the button so much.
Oh my God. So I usually cast it to my Apple TV from my iPad, right? And it works fine on every other app except HBO. Like I'll start something casting and then maybe I minimize it and do like what I just said, check email or something. But every time I do that with HBO running, it crashes and I have to relog in. So it's just a sucky app.
I will say I tend not to have. Okay, so for me, it's when we watch a movie at home, streaming at home, we'll have to pause because Nico will need to go potty or I'll ask him to get snacks because me.
That's what you do.
I'm the one that has to go potty.
But it's very much like distractions that we'd have to pause if we were watching a TV show or something that we were really into. The whole picking up my phone, that's just, I'm not interested in the movie anymore, which to me is a red flag that this is not a good movie for me. So with Suicide Squad, whenever Nico got up, I was on my phone. I'm like, ooh, let me watch a couple of TikTok videos.
Because it's paused.
Yeah.
But, which breaks the movie up.
But
it does.
But here's
during the movie,
if I'm at
during the movie had my entire attention.
If I'm at a movie theater and I get up to go to the restroom and I miss out on everything, that breaks up the movie too.
But you know what's different? This is what's different. So like what Tina says with snacks, if she's going to have snacks, you prep before the movie starts and you get them. If you have to pee, or at least if you're like me and you're in a theater, you move fast. You run like hell. But at home, you're just gonna like.
But here's the thing:
handle this business.
As an average movie person, I will go to the restroom and I'll try to get back as fast as possible, but it's still so broken up. I usually have to ask you or someone else, what did I miss?
Well, you have the bladder like a thimble bladder too, and we both
of a thimble.
So do you.
I do. I sure do. You're right, and that's why I have learned to be so fast at the movies. Although we made it all the way through Endgame without having to go pee. But
Somehow.
we took extreme precautions.
We took extreme measures.
We didn't drink anything. We didn't eat anything
for hours before. Back on the actual movie, though, regardless of how you saw it, there's some moments in this movie where I just bust out laughing. Which Zach and I were talking about that. It felt so good, and you guys didn't have this experience. It just felt so good to have like pure joy in the theater. We were discussing this right after. It's like, fuck, this was just, and we love morose movies. I mean, I love them.
Yeah.
But man, just to go in there and just be belly laughing at shit. That whole sequence, that whole part where they had the brain guy, I can never remember his name.
Thinker.
Yeah, the thinker. And they were, running him down the road about what's going to happen to him if he like double crosses them. That whole sequence was funny as shit. And Harley Quinn going, and I am walking back and forth. I don't know. That broke me up.
The line that broke me the most was the computer guy being like, oh shit, we got kaijus up in this shit. And for some reason,
when they said that, I thought of you guys, especially Nico. I'm like, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Like the scene that got me, just I couldn't stop laughing for a solid minute and a half. Harley shoots the guy in the fucking heart.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm sorry, I've been trying to, notice guys with giant red flags, and I just fucking lost it. Like she keeps going and he's dying on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm just laughing my fucking ass off.
That's one thing about James Gunn that's kind of like interesting if you pay attention to his career outside of Guardians of the Galaxy. If you look at a movie like Sliver or Super, is he goes for the long game jokes, like the one that Zach was you were talking about. You would miss. It feels like forever. Like when she gets with this guy and he's going to marry her, and it goes on, and then you get the joke at the end of that. It's like worth the wait.
No.
Yeah.
But nobody goes for this long game jokes like that.
I laughed when they went into like the rebel camp and they would just killed everybody. And
it's like, oh, here's this leader of the rebel guerrilla fighters, and they're like,
where's my people? And literally you saw a penis. And you also just even the title cards between people.
You saw a penis. Thank God you saw a penis.
Yeah,
I saw a penis when he got shot in the head and it just flopped. It was like, oh yeah, that's real life.
That was not a prosthetic.
That was not CGI.
I think Zach and I both had mixed feelings about the titles. They were cute, but sometimes hard to read.
Yeah, sometimes.
I loved it when
on
it
the big
went
screen.
from-
I'm trying to read because it's an interesting
Okay,
font, or it's made out of
that might
vines.
make more sense in a theater because like we're on a TV screen, so it's definitely more
It's
front and
easier
center.
to-
You don't
it's
have to look
compact to
around to
read.
see it. Like it's
My
definitely
favorite
some
one
of them.
though was Operation Jotunheim, and then it before that, and then it like extinguishes and the smoke spells out Harley.
Even the like time jump type things, I was like, okay, this is kind of cool how they're doing it. It was so much better executed than anything I've seen before.
I think for a long time, we're kissing the ass of this movie a lot. So let me just say, for a long time,
It needs a rewrite.
in the movie. I
Some of the
felt
dialogue.
like it wasn't that didn't bother me, but I felt like I didn't give a fuck about the story very much. Like it just felt like another, save the world thing, kind of. I mean, it was riffed on a little bit differently with Suicide Squad, but I just didn't feel like I cared. But I was still with it because I cared about the characters, because I enjoyed time with them. But for a long time, the big bad or whatever, I mean, they twisted it up a little bit at the end and brought it back, which I was happy for. But for a long time, I just didn't care.
Had I not known, if I was just a regular person, not nerdy, not knowing anything about DC characters and Operation Starfish, and not knowing about Starro, I probably would have been less invested because I wouldn't know what the payoff was going to be.
See, I don't know much about Suicide
Starfish
Squad.
is always going to be a top.
I didn't know anything about that.
So
Yeah.
I think
I didn't know anything.
one thing I did enjoy about the film that I thought was pretty impressive is this isn't James Gunn's DC version of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Thank
It
God.
does not feel like Guardians of the Galaxy. We were talking about that in the credits when we were talking about the song choices because it's got a good soundtrack. I love that it
Felt
opened
like
with,
that-
Folsom Blues was great.
I felt like that felt like Guardians a little bit, but that's kind of his style is to use that retro music.
The thing I was telling Tina when we were in the end credits is I didn't feel like the song choice was a character in the movie to the extent that it is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
In Guardians of the Galaxy, it is. I mean, they're good soundtracks, both of them, but they hit you over the head. Like the song choice is as much of a character as the other
Maybe
Guardians.
not
almost.
as much, but I'm going to disagree just a little bit because we were even talking about this. There were a few times you could almost feel that the action sequence was built around the song a little bit here and there.
I think a couple of cases, but it definitely didn't seem as much of an obvious focus point as like in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
And
I can see
while,
that.
While there's certain similar themes of this kind of found family in some aspects of it, it definitely feels like it stands on its own instead of just being a DC carbon copy.
Yeah.
So I'll let Zach have his victory because I don't let him have too many of them. But we did have an argument, not really an argument, just I didn't feel it like he did, where there was a couple of action sequences that he felt like were cut for TV rather than they were cut.
No.
But they were cut on a monitor is what you
You
said.
can tell sometimes, like if someone is editing for the big screen or if they're editing for like a monitor or a small screen like a TV.
Yeah.
You can tell based on how quickly you're able to take in the information because you're able to see it. It's smaller, like with the titling, how it's easier to read on a monitor than it would be on a big screen.
So
there
what I
were
found
editing
out,
sequences. I'm going, yeah, they edited this on a monitor.
So what I found out later was because of COVID, some portions of this movie were actually cut in James Gunn's house on his computer.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's why. But the sequence where they're telling the brain not to cough with his mouth uncovered or whatever, that was his little wink at COVID.
Yeah. I mean, I can get that with the theater, with the
That
makes
trailer.
sense.
Which I think is pretty funny and timely. So that was cool. It was cute.
I will say, I think my favorite fight of the movie, my favorite fight sequence is Harley's breakout.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that
That's a
to
good
me,
one.
like everything about that fight screamed Harley. From the moment she pretends to be passed out to the very end.
So I mean, that was very indicative of like the Birds of Prey movie where she would have these sequences and stuff like that.
It felt like that
Creative.
done better.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure this out. I don't know if it's just competency in terms of execution or if it's because Harley isn't the focal point of the movie. Because like in Birds of Prey is entirely Harley's movie, despite the title. Like it's Harley's movie guest starring Birds of Prey. And it could just be that Harley doesn't work that way as the sole focus of the movie that you have to follow as the audience the whole way through. But like in these segments, like she had in this scene, it works to just highlight her as a character in this world as opposed to we're just stuck in her head the whole time. I don't know if it's
She
that
works
or if it's
best as a
just-
side character. It's like Captain Jack Sparrow.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that's another good way to put it. Is like it is very much like this is Pirates of the Caribbean 1 through 3, not 4 or 5, when it is Jack as the main character. I think that's a really apt comparison. So I don't know if I want to say it's entirely just they did an awful job, but you know, I also got to give some credit to James Gunn. He just did a really good job on this.
He knew how to bring this thing to life. He really did.
That and I loved the flowers that they added. I was a sucker
That was
for
something I
those.
was like, how are they going to make that work? And by God, they made it work
made it
with
work.
the little animated
They
characters
did.
in there
Yeah.
and everything, dancing bunnies.
They made it work, and not only that, even when she jumped into Starfish or Starrow's eye, like that whole sequence.
That was a fascinating shot.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So let me just say
Yeah.
that I officially am into the red dress and combat boots situation.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Okay, so quickly, let's throw a number rating at this movie.
I'd say 7.
I'd say 7.5.
7
maybe
half,
8, depending on my mood.
8.
Zach?
8.5.
8.5. Wow, look at you. I'm going to jump around 7.5, I think.
I'm saying 8.
I will say that this movie has had an opposite effect of most DC movies with me, is it's gotten a little better with age, the more I've thought about it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay at 7.5. I maybe could be convinced to go 8.
I was at
really
9,
fun.
and then I brought it down.
Yeah, 9 is a little bit
This is my
too
favorite.
generous.
Well, walking out, I was.
All right, so
fucking
Tina,
happy.
are you okay if we cut your story from the first sequence?
Yeah, I can
Because
just
we were running late.
Yeah, I can add a little tagline
All right,
after
so-
Nico's story.
All
Yeah,
right,
I can do
Nico,
mine
let's
real
do
quick.
this.
ScarJo and Disney are having a civil war. Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow herself, is suing Disney for allegedly bleaching her contract by releasing Black Widow on Disney Plus at the same time as theaters. ScarJo claims that Disney and Marvel guaranteed an exclusive theatrical release, and her salary is based in a large part of box office performance, which is kind of hard to, entirely say you're performing if you also release it outside of a box office.
Mm-hmm.
Disney, of course, is saying the suit has no merit and, quote, is especially sad and distressing in its callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, end quote. Also says it complied with Scarlett's contract, and the release of Black Widow on Disney Plus on Premier Access significantly enhanced her ability to earn additional compensation in addition to the $20 million she's received so far. Interestingly, the suit also notes that there are annual bonuses for Chairman Bob Iger and CEO Bob Chapek, which are tied to the performance of Disney Plus, citing as a possible motivation for putting Black Widow on the performance. Now, Warner Media did similar day and date, except you don't have to pay extra. You can just go watch movies that they release on HBO Max, as with Suicide Squad. But they also renegotiated a lot of their talent contracts and paid supposedly more than $200 million to talent to amend the agreements. According to the complaint, ScarJo's reps tried to renegotiate, but Disney and Marvel were unresponsive. The claim says that the dual release is projected to cost ScarJo more than $50 million. While it has made a lot of money in theaters, it fell sharply in subsequent weeks after the opening weekend. The National Association of Theater Owners called the performance, quote, disappointing and anomalous, end quote. And in contrast, it generated $60 million on $30 at-home purchases on Disney Plus when it opened. So that money's going through a different revenue in the box office, and ScarJo wants them to pay up.
And I don't blame her,
Yep.
because that was the deal that they made.
I'm entirely on her side at this point.
Yeah, I know some people have complained, it's like, she made $20 million. You're like, yeah, well, Robert Downey Jr. made like $1 billion.
Yeah, what is it difference does it make that she made $20 million?
She
I don't care if
also
she made
lost out
$1
on
million.
$50 million.
It was in her contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
that was
legit in writing. And the fact that her agents went to Disney and Marvel to try and renegotiate to cover everybody's asses at that point, and they were unresponsive, that's insult to injury.
Well,
boy, that sure is creepy that, Bob Iger gets a bonus because of the success of Disney Plus. It's telling. It's telling to me.
Well, that's his baby. And I will say this. Disney, I love Disney, but they are doing their talent very wrong. And it very much feels, especially that comment, that they're trying to do a guilt type thing when it comes to COVID.
Yeah.
During these COVID
very
times,
much.
which is very...
Dude, your fucking parks are open.
Yeah. Disney, I've been saying this for a while, it's a shit company.
It's almost like it's not almost. They're trying to gaslight Scarlett Johansson right here with that comment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm sorry, we had a contract. You can't make me feel bad for trying to hold you to our
the agreement. Yeah, because obviously it's not just bullshit pulled out of the air. If analysts are already saying you cost her $50 million, how did they enhance? How does it being on Disney Plus enhance her ability to make money?
Doesn't.
The article
I don't
doesn't
see
really,
that.
Yeah, the article doesn't really go into it. So I don't know what stipulations they were trying to add in or anything else. But yeah, she's not going to earn more than she would in box office.
I've been really pissed off about how Warner Brothers handled all this stuff too. But the argument, the one thing I will say in their favor is they did compensate.
Yeah,
they did figure out compensation.
They went back to the table with their talent.
They had to go to Regency and all these other companies that were investors and figure out how to pay them.
And then, if you noticed, everybody shut the fuck up about that after they paid them.
After they paid them, the only people still complaining is the people behind Dune.
Oh
yeah.
And literally, that's an artist thing, and I agree with him.
This is like a snowball effect, which we're seeing with. Had we gotten to like go deep into my story, came to light that Marvel and Disney is only paying comic writers and creators $5,000 flat fee.
How incredible is that?
Their stories are used. There's 24, 25 Marvel movies now, and
they should be collecting royalties.
Billions.
They should be collecting royalties, not
100%. They should be. But this is not just now that situation. That 5,000 situation. That is not an exclusively a Marvel Comics thing. I mean, it's very notable the battles that the owners of the Superman, the creators of Superman, still are fighting. I think to get money.
Disney had a chance when they got Marvel because they had the funds that they could really step up and better provide for comic book creators. But unfortunately, since Superman was created, comic book creators have been kind of up the creek without a paddle based on getting royalties for characters they created, because the comic book industry is all work for hire. You create something for Marvel or DC, any of the big two.
And if they like it, they'll pick it up. That's it.
They own it. You don't.
Well, that's the way it is with the big two. Now, you look at somebody like Todd McFarlane. He's been able to make quite a living off of Spawn because he kept ownership of that character.
And that's one of the reasons Image started in the 90s, is because you had these top tier talents at Marvel wanting more control and wanting more ownership of the things they create. So they left Marvel and made their own stuff.
Exactly.
And while that doesn't necessarily lead to big payouts for all of them, Robert Kirkman doesn't have to work anymore in his life now. Thanks to The Walking Dead.
So just to finalize on the Black Widow thing, since this story, Nico, which you put in our feed, Disney has gotten nasty. This is still going back and forth. They are making themselves look so bad because they are trying to run her down the road, and it's crazy.
They know they have a losing case.
They do. I think that's what it is.
So they're trying to get like public.
They're trying to kill her in the press.
Nico cracked me up because one of the clickbait articles that I saw was like, Disney has now blacklisted Scarlett Johansson from ever starring in a Marvel Cinematic Universe, and he goes, "Oh no, she'll never get to play Black Widow again." I just laughed.
Well, they did already famously use a different voice actor for her in What If, which starts tonight, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll mess her up in some way, but she's
still gonna have a career.
She's gonna get plenty of work.
Yeah.
Like I love that all during COVID, and I think even now, Universal will come out and say, "Hey, come on over." They said that to Christopher Nolan at Warner Brothers. She's like, "Come on over. We put movies out in the theater."
Yeah.
So I mean,
heck, she could easily jump ship and go to DC. I mean, when Gunn was on the outs with Disney and Marvel, DC did not hesitate.
She could just go be Black Canary. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. There were any number of female DC characters that she could play if she wanted to stay in the comic book ecosystem.
Yeah.
I doubt she does.
I was going to say, I feel like she's done with it.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much everyone who's like been aging out of Marvel and not that they're aging out, but just like, I've been doing this for a decade. I'm ready to do something else. Comic book franchises.
I feel like they could have got her for maybe one or two more things if there was like the rumor mills going around.
It would be like flashbacks
but I feel like she's gonna be done now.
I mean,
it's comic books. They could easily have brought her back Gamora style.
Well, but it's also like Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. They're not going to come back to do any flash.
They don't want to.
Yeah, they're done.
Agree. All right, let's move on to TV. We got to talk about a couple of trailers here real quick. Tina shared, and I had seen it just before she put it up in our group, the Why the Last Man trailer. You did, which is the FX series based on a really great comic book series.
Yeah.
What did you guys think? Yeah, we've been
show
for a long time. But in fact, the article was hilarious that I read that said there's proof that it's happening now. You can't deny it because there's actual visual proof.
Yeah, Nico has been waiting for this for like, I swear, a solid decade.
That comic book series is so good.
Yeah, anybody that's been a really long time listener to the show will probably have heard us talk about various different attempts to make the show, including various attempts at FX to make the show.
True.
Like the comic book ended in 2008, and it's been pretty much since before then that attempts to make this into a show have been going on, because it's Why the Last Man, to just give a quick primer about what the series is about. It's a contemporary general present day comic book in which all the men on the planet suddenly die. Every man, which has been done in sci-fi plenty of times before, so it's not like a new gimmick. But one guy and his male monkey are still alive, and it's not just, it's like all men die. There's one guy still alive, and he's just basically trying to traverse society, finding out what happened, dealing with the new world order, and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's also a very much travel the country, because it starts in like New York or DC on the East Coast and moves West Coast and goes all across. It's an excellent book. I recommend anyone pick it up, by Brian K. Vaughan. It's fantastic.
And I don't think it's gonna.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's gonna do well. I think it's gonna be a one-season show.
I don't know. I think the trailer looked good. I think they were representing the story well. It just depends.
Based off the trailer and the female acting, which there were some great
Well, most of it's going to be female acting. So
well, yeah. But I mean, like the way it's going to be carried, I don't think it's going to stick.
I think the thing that'll hurt it the most is it being on FX.
Yes. Well, but that'll also put it on Hulu, which will help.
Here's my thing about it. The only thing I think that may hurt, of course, if it's not done well, then that will, of course, hurt it.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it's very much the idea of dealing with the effect of essentially a pandemic. You have half of the world dying, and that will be very interesting to see in a post-COVID pandemic world. Like, will pop culture have an appetite for this kind of story?
Contagion had a resurgence of popularity during the pandemic.
We all
but that was also Contagion had a resurgence early in the pandemic when this was all novel.
Well,
not novel anymore.
The problem, though, is FX has a very stylized format. I mean, kind of like how you can tell it's a Netflix show, or kind of like you can tell it's Amazon, or kind of like
I agree.
FX is very stylized in a sense. It doesn't, like, there's only one show consistently off FX that I watch, and it's called Snowfall. And that has a growing, I don't know. It starts in the 1980s and grows from there. I'll say that. This is very modern day, and it's also, I don't think it's kind of like when they did the Purge series and they were showing it on, that was a USA show, but they were showing it on Hulu, and it's still that same type of style, and it just didn't resonate kind of like a theatrical release did, or like, I don't know how to fully describe it. FX shows are not.
Here's the advantage. I kind of agree with what you're saying a little bit, because if it's on FX, even if I hear it's good, I just don't watch it for some reason. But like, I'm back watching American Horror Stories this season for the first time in years because they're featuring it on Hulu now. And sadly, that show has not gotten any better. Yeah.
Well, and I'm kind of in the same boat. I've never watched like The Americans, for instance, despite how much
I binged it. Gets. It's so good. I binged it after it was over.
But that's just another one that shows is like, oh, I can get to it eventually.
Mm-hmm. FX just has that feeling. We'll get there sometime.
But it's got a very, I don't understand the style of FX, because I don't know how to even describe it, because it's very. It's like if you got a telenovela mixed with like a sci-fi. I don't know. It's weird.
To me, it looked good. I'm interested, but I will say that it had that streaming series look.
But I'm not going to say it is interesting, but is it interesting enough to carry through a full season, or is it a 1 or 2 episode interesting?
Oh yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
See, I mean,
what did you think of it, Zach?
It's a show that I'll wait and hear about, and then it'll go on a list of maybe one day I'll
shows
check
that you
that
never
out.
watch because you suck balls.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah."
Hey, there's nothing wrong with sucking balls.
Sometimes you go down, you look the asshole.
Go downtown.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, this barely merits any mention, but we did get it. It did come out. So here we go. Which was the Stranger Things season 4.
So was that really a trailer or was it a teaser?
That was a teaser.
That was a teaser.
Okay.
Sure.
Can I just say?
Let's get into debating trailer versus teaser now.
No, I'm just. We already know what the Stranger Things universe is like. I don't need a teaser. Just come out with a trailer. Just come out with a full trailer.
Well, as it turns out, though, and we looked at this pre-show, they're still filming. So I don't think they have the finalized footage.
They don't even need to come out with a teaser.
Well, they were just still filming, though.
All they have to announce
went into this year more than I thought.
Stranger Things season 4 coming, blah, blah, blah. That's all they have to do. They don't need to show these little clips of randomness because it was bullshit. It was crap.
Dude, remember when they came out with the titles of the episodes and that was their teaser?
Mm-hmm.
And it was great.
But you know what the problem is now is I think it has been so long, because I feel this myself a little bit, is just people are starting to not give a shit.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long.
I don't think it's the fact that it's been so long. It's like they showed us stuff that's like not shocking. It's nothing new. It's nothing reinventive in the fact. I mean, we already know we're going to get 11 and all the other kids battling this unknown or the unknown. And we already know that what's his face, the sheriff, is alive. Like, we don't need a teaser. All we need to know is the release date.
I think
there was more
Steven
fucking footage in that reveal than there was in this teaser.
Yeah, I think when Steven says it's been so long, like for me at least, I have the attention span of a fucking goldfish. So it's
Zach too.
So long since season 3 to starting to get stuff for season 4 that I'm like, well, I remember the kids, but I don't remember much else about like the intricacies of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to build on that, then I'm going to have to rewatch everything.
Yeah, same here.
So
I mean, it's fine,
I'm going to have to watch
it's
explainers on YouTube.
But it's no different than when Game of Thrones took that 2-year hiatus for their final crappy season. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I referenced Breaking Bad to Zach when we were talking about it.
No, I mean, seriously, like, okay, yeah. And if you think about series like this, you do go back instinctively and rewatch just to catch up before you get.
I hate doing that.
But you still do it. Like,
no, I try not. No, I go and watch recap videos on YouTube.
Yeah, recap videos have been my life.
And you can do that too. But this isn't the first series that's going to have you do that. Like, I did that for Game of Thrones.
Oh, no, I'm not saying it's the first series.
Yeah, I'm totally going to do that. Totally going to do that.
But
I don't have the issue that you have with the teaser, though. To me, that's just traditional marketing, as they throw clips at you to remind you, hey, here it is. Yeah. Here it is. It's coming.
I don't need
it's coming.
Teaser. Just say, hey, Stranger Things season 4. You could have just had 11's face up there, literally. And just have 11 space and just go, okay, Stranger Things season 4 coming, blah, 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 blah. You don't
see, I don't think that wouldn't be enough for me because it's been so long since the previous season. Like I said, that I'm kind of starting to not care. I've let good shows that I like drop off because there was such a long break. I just didn't feel like going back to it.
See, for me, though, Stranger Things is kind of up there with Game of Thrones. It's like I'm invested already into it. And the last season, I still remember it was so good. It was funny. Like,
the last season of Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
okay, I was about to say.
No. When we had season 7 of Game of Thrones, I was so hyped for season 8, but then season 8 let me down. But season 7, I remember vaguely like where we were, where we're coming up, and I waited 2 years for bullshit.
You know what's funny is what Tina was saying about having the attention span of a goldfish. I think it's also memory. Because I forgot, like what I remembered is season 1 of Stranger Things was amazing, and it should have just stopped right there.
No.
And then there was season 2 and season 3, and I couldn't remember which one of those sucked. I knew one of the seasons sucked and the other one was okay. and it was 2 that sucked. Season 3 was okay.
Season 2 didn't suck.
Season 2 was fucking awful.
Season 2 was shit.
It sucked that we never got really Barb back.
And we got that stupid story with the little with the 11's sister that was suck.
That was the tangent I did not need to go.
That was not suck. It was giving an 11 origin story.
And then 11 got to have her hair all slicked back like Joan Jett.
It was needed. It was needed.
And then, but they remember then 11 had her hair all slicked back like Joan Jett.
She went goth.
First off, I remember having this argument like a few years ago. And y'all can go fuck yourselves because season 2 was still good. Season 3 got really campy. Season 3 got really campy because they were playing off the 80s camp vibe, but it was still decent.
All right, Nathan, let's get into your story because it ties to our earlier argument.
And it's getting to where it's 9 o'clock here.
Yeah, we got to start wrapping that
and
soon.
It's 10 o'clock here, and fuck y'all. Anyway.
That's what you get for living in Florida.
Third-party streaming analytics company Samba TV has weighed in on the weekend of viewership of Warner Brothers' The Suicide Squad on HBO Max, saying that 2.8 million U.S. households tuned in over the film's Friday through Sunday frame. This marks the highest weekend ever for a DC property, well ahead of Justice League's The Snyder Cut, 1.8 million household over 4 days, and the Christmas weekend of Wonder Woman 1984, which was at 2.2 million. But it's not the highest streaming service that has seen for the day and date theatrical movie as monitored by is it Samba or Samba?
I think it's Samba.
Okay, Samba. I was thinking of Lion King, and I was like, okay,
Samba.
But Samba. The crown still belongs to the R-rated New Line title, Mortal Kombat, which drew in 3.8 million U.S. households. Suicide Squad's HBO Max weekend views in Samba TV homes are 26% behind that figure. The Suicide Squad didn't fare well in its opening at the domestic weekend box office, earning only 26.5 million. That is below the hoped for 30 million plus start for several reasons. Its availability free to 47 million HBO Max subscribers, fans' dissatisfaction with the overall DC franchise, and possibly the spiking Delta variant, though there are many box office sources who firmly believe that the latter wasn't chiefly to blame. Jungle Cruise, however, had a good hold of minus 55% despite its availability on Disney Plus Premiere for $29.99, as did Focus feature art house title Stillwater, which only eased 45% in its second weekend. Warner's got the boast that The Suicide Squad posted the best opening for R-rated title at the domestic box office in the pandemic, beating the 3-day total of Mortal Kombat, 23.3 million. On the upside, for The Suicide Squad over the weekend on HBO Max, Saturday posted the largest number of total Samba HH viewers, first time or repeat, with 1.2 million U.S. households watching the title that day for at least 5 minutes.
So I actually kind of feel like they're reading this. I read this data differently. Let me just say it like that, because they're comparing it to Mortal Kombat, and that's fine because they're both R-rated. Mm-hmm. But I think the 26% difference that they're seeing isn't a comment on people's feeling about the DC universe. I think it is a comment on the upward trajectory of people returning back to the theater. That's what I feel is the Delta variant may be flatlining it a little bit right now, but I don't think that much, to be honest.
I don't think it's people returning back to theater. I think it also plays in part. There was a very lack of, I don't know. I saw this. The lack of marketing for the Suicide Squad was less than what they would have done for other DC movies.
I think it's equal to what they did for Mortal Kombat, though.
It might be, but for a DC movie, like for a superhero or like even a villain movie, it was very lackluster compared to what we have seen in the past. And
the other comparison to that too is Mortal Kombat is a lot more niche. Like a niche audience compared to Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad would be more mainstream for R-rated.
It might be, which I also forgot to touch on this on Suicide Squad. I really did appreciate the gore of Suicide Squad, which we
talked about that while you were peeing.
Okay, well, I really appreciated that because it was very comical in a lot of senses, and I was like, okay, well, at least they're showing when they slash a throat that it's like actually bleeding. Anyways, but this was my movie in box office. I'm very disappointed that streaming kind of hindered that. And I know there are several factors that go into it. And not only that, I also feel like because people were trapped for so long inside, now we have a summer where people can go out and do more things. They can go out and be stuff. They don't want to go inside to a theater. They don't want to. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair enough. Nico, what is your take on this?
I think I do think Delta is a factor for one, but I agree that it's probably not like the biggest factor. I don't know if the marketing is a big issue. I mean, honestly, I saw plenty of marketing for it, but I also wasn't looking for it. That wasn't something I was trying to gauge leading into the movie. But I saw plenty of awareness online and anywhere I looked for.
Well, here's the thing.
Online,
I will
say that.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. So I was going to say.
Sorry.
they are less inclined to market it as heavily as they would another DC movie or even the 2016 Suicide Squad because it is an R-rated movie. So your most heavy marketing is going to be towards a more family or a more wide audience, not necessarily to kids, but to a target where kids can see it, and kids aren't going to watch this movie.
My comment on marketing, though, is like when we look at social media or we look at online marketing, especially nowadays, I think it's tailored towards what we are used to seeing and watching. Whereas when you're looking at like basic cable or like television marketing, it is broad spectrum. It's not tailored to the individual. So I feel
I don't watch any of that, so I can't gauge that.
So when you're seeing things online or like through your phone, it's like that Big Brother effect. I could be talking about a toilet brush, and all of a sudden I'm getting all these advertisements about this fucking toilet brush.
I hate that about Facebook. It freaks me out.
Yeah. For me personally, I did not see any Suicide Squad.
Well, I saw a lot. A lot,
but that's what I'm saying through my personal device,
which could mean that like your targeting toward your advertising targeting towards you was just highly specified to the other stuff that Suicide Squad isn't penetrating that, and that our collective media consumption habits are at a point where broad general advertising campaigns don't reach us.
So like when I'm watching stuff through YouTube TV and like commercial, like even through YouTube TV, I get commercial breaks through the shows I record. Like I did not see the Suicide Squad. I'm seeing more Candyman than I am.
See, I haven't seen any Candyman other than the trailer at the theater.
I've seen a lot of Candyman.
More Candyman.
Have you?
Yeah.
Tina, what is your thought on this? You have a comment?
Yeah. So
you're the analytics person.
I was about to say, I'm always interested when an analytics group gets involved because, as I've said before, and I will continue to say, a good analyst can make data say whatever the fuck they want it to say.
That's true.
If Warner Brothers is paying them to be like, hey, show us this kind of a spin to make our product look good compared to, or our newer product look good compared to a later product, that kind of thing. It's with the right data sets, with the right filter logics and queries, you can make it say whatever you want it to say.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I would actually like to see what basis, like what data set they're pulling from, because this is, like Nathan said, it's very
subjective.
Yeah, thank you. It's very subjective to like how marketing was distributed amongst the common people versus people who are actively looking for it. And it's one of those things where I don't trust it until I can see what's behind it.
What I will say is it does show that more people are streaming, whether it is a cost-effective thing or not. People are absolutely utilizing the streaming service. Now, if HBO, Warner Brothers is offering it for free, like, come on now. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
So you want to know what, Zach, do you have a comment on this before I
go on?
Okay. So this is what I think is the most telling about this is literally right after this article came out. I mean, the day after this article came out, AMC and HBO made public their agreement starting in January 2022 that they will be going back to a 45-day window. So that says something to me about how much the actual streaming is not as successful as they lead you to believe. Because if it was doing as well as they want it to, we wouldn't be rushing back in to a 45-day lockdown window starting in January.
Or maybe it's doing too well.
Or it's not as successful, but they've hit a plateau of new subscribers. That's the thing. Like
and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. They're probably hitting a plateau of new subscribers where they can see now they're going to be losing money for not having that window. Because if you look
Black Widow did, and now this did too.
But if you look at like movies like The Quiet Place 2, and you look at F9 that was not offered during streaming, look at their box office numbers. They have other movies that were not streamed showing high numbers, which is reflective in our box office game. Which if we did not have COVID right now, I can guarantee that I'd be freaking pulled ahead right now, and I'm pissed.
I
would be much higher with Black Widow. Let's be honest.
You would
be. Higher. All right, so let's. We've been at this a really long time. Let me just bring this thing to an end. Zach has a story. Basically, it is about Criterion finally releasing.
Criterion announced their 4K releases that they're going to do.
You have the list, right?
December. Citizen Kane, Menace to Society, The Piano, Mulholland Drive, The Red Shoes, and Hard Day's Night.
And it's a shit list of movies. I understand Citizen Kane and I understand The Red Shoes because that's on brand for Criterion. But those other, Mulholland Drive, I'm sorry, not that good. Menace to Society, sorry about it, not that good. But we finally get in 4Ks. So
I will accept the L if it means that I get a W later.
Exactly. Wave 2. That's what we're holding out for. Wave 2, we want that Silence of the Lambs 4K to come domestic.
Yes, you're not getting that because Kino got that.
Oh, that's fine. I'll take the Kino one then. But if you want to buy something this week, you can get Batman: The Long Halloween Part 2, One Crazy Summer, Nashville, which I think that was a Criterion release.
That's a re-release of Criterion.
Yeah.
Because I guess it went out of print or something.
Right. Havoc and Afterlife, 2 movies I don't know anything about. It's a shit week for physical stuff. What about the funny books?
This week is Free Comic Book Day on Saturday, August 14th.
Shit. Well, I can't do that. We'll be busy.
Yep. August 14th is Free Comic Book Day. So that is the highlighted books, which are in Steven's inbox right now.
I get those posted ASAP.
For our listeners, a Free Comic Book Day is usually in May, but they delayed it. They completely canceled it last year, and then they delayed it
because of the Rona
due to COVID.
Yes. So it got pushed to this week.
Yeah, because normally it's in May, right?
Yes.
It is the first Saturday in May.
First Saturday in May. It's typically when the new Marvel movie in May is going to be out too. So it's usually all synergy, but
marketing.
A nice package.
Yeah, but this time it's this weekend, August 14th. So check out your local comic book shops, whatever's in the area. They're going to be giving out free comic books from Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, Image, IDW, Dynamite. All the main publishers have stuff.
And it's kind of cool if you want to dive into something because they usually give you some kind of free book that is a setup for if you want to dive into whatever story is happening. A lot of them will have
really good sales. Nathan, there is a comic book shop in Orlando that's actually on the other side of the major street from, what is it, Holy Land?
Yeah.
It's in like one of those little strips.
Coliseum Comics, I think.
It's not off International Boulevard, is it?
No, I don't remember. It's been 2 years since I've been there.
It's called Coliseum Comics, and it was one of the ones that we visited when we were in Orlando, and we really liked it.
It was pretty good, and yeah, just your local shop's likely going to have sales. So in addition to getting these free books, you'll be able to get discounts on other books that they have there. A lot of shops also tend to have events, costume contests. That maybe pare down a little bit this year, just because again, COVID.
The Rona.
But yeah, I would look up the shops in your area. Go out, mask up when you go out, get some free books. It's going to be a good time.
Get you some free books. Yeah,
it's off I-4 across from the Holy Land Experience. It's up there near the Millennium Mall. Okay. Yeah.
So I didn't put the story in. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. But I did see that Marvel announced a new series team up book with Iron Man and Captain America, and that got me interested because
I didn't actually see that one.
Yeah, I just saw it right before the show, so that'll be cool. All right. We've been going a long time, y'all. And I got to eat some dinner. So let's bring this thing to an end. Nico, where do we find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter and Instagram under Nico Scream, Nikoscream.
Tina?
You can find me under most major social medias as Cheddar Popper, CheddarPoppr. And as always, our adorable pup, Shadow, on Instagram at the.shadow.pupper.
Nathan?
You can find me on Instagram, Nate_R_70. You can find me in Nashville next weekend for a 48-hour film festival.
That's right. We're going to make a movie in 2 days. Zach?
Where can you find me?
Probably here editing video.
Here. Yeah, editing for 48 hour.
Yeah.
But hey, if you want to check out my Instagram, I'm Master of the Matrix 91. And if you want to, I don't know, find me on Steam, I'm a dangerous mute lunatic.
So find me at CultureSmash on Facebook, Off the Shelf Movie Night on YouTube, talking about Blu-rays, and go follow my cat. I learned from Tina. So you can go to Kaylee the Chubbs on Instagram and see how chubby she is and how cute, because she's the best.
Amazing.
All right. We'll see everybody next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.